I'm Michelle Boyson. I am the Managing Director of Petanque Business Specialists. What we do is we unpack who does what, how and when within businesses. And that actually can lead to many things. It could lead to organizational structures, performance management, change management. So it's really making businesses better. We created a methodology, we called it VizPro. We launched it internationally last year in partnership with a company in Atlanta, 10-Step. It's known internationally as ProcessStep, and it's taking off internationally now. And I think the other part is having been able to land large clients like BP, South African Post Office, SA Breweries, Miller, to use our methodology.
The triggers of the methodology really are any change management project in an organization. Whether people want to reorganize, they need to do skills assessments, they need to move to best practice, they want to refocus on performance management. It is great for IT projects. We've had clients saying to us they know there's duplication in their organizations. They know there's things that they should be doing that they're not doing, but they can't put their finger on it. Then we go in and we help them and we work it out. People often think when they see the visual output of what we do that it's software that we're selling. And it's not software. We make use of Microsoft Visio for the simple reason it's easy accessible, it's easy to follow, it's not expensive. For us it is about how do you capture the right information in your processes. It's about the facilitation process, it's about getting people in a room together and working through their differences, deciding on where they want to go with this process, where the improvements should be, and getting that buy-in into the change. When we start in an organization, whether it's about the whole organization or just a division or just a department, we do what we call a positioning map. We would get normally the more senior people in a room and workshop with them, and we just do a framework of what the organization is or the department is like. The high level, the big picture, the helicopter view. And from there on, we will then scope the project and do the individual processes.
What we currently do here is we're defining the step-by-step activities or functions that actually achieve a specific goal. By going through the step-by-step activities in a logical, sequential flow, you are able to identify your key performance indicators, what risks are there, what controls are in place to actually mitigate those risks. There's unpacking of roles, clear segregation of duties, and by getting this by people just interacting in these workshops, there's immense, invaluable sessions that we do have, and buy-in from the day one.
We identify right at the outset the purpose and the scope of the process. So what is the end result of the process? We always need to focus on that. We identify the process owner. Ultimately, if 10 people play in that process, one person must take responsibility. We identify where the risk areas are. We identify where the controls in the process should take place. We identify if people are strong on quality management systems, where that quality standards should be applied. We look at the policies and the legal acts that govern this process. We look at the impact areas on the financial bottom line. Where does money flow or stock flow? So in the end, you have a very, very information-rich storyboard. And people can stand in front of their maps and they have a wealth of information. It's not about coming in and looking at an individual job. We're looking at process end to end. So we're breaking down the type of silo when we look at everybody that needs to work in that process to get to an end result. The process is like the foundation of a building. If that foundation is not good, the cracks are going to show very, very quickly. So this methodology is about taking a holistic approach and getting people to understand not just my role in the process, but the next person's role and my impact on what that person is doing. It's about the bottom line of the organization and what is it that the end customer, what value must the end customer get out of this process.
It's a very, very visual way of learning. Audience follow it quite easily. A lot of other methodologies do not present a case in a clearly visualized manner. A process map which you can visualize and have an aerial view of makes it very easy to understand.
One of the most important things for us is when we workshop a process and we move to a best practice. There's always changes. We take out duplication, we fill gaps. So immediately there's things that must happen. A key thing is creating an action list right there and then. Names, dates, what must happen. And when the business people leave that room, the process owner is tasked for making sure that those actions are implemented. So we don't wait until the end of the project to say, okay, now these are all the things that now must change. The change happened immediately.
For us, managing this was really easy because everybody could see the benefit and they started driving it. And I think everybody is starting to talk process. So for us, it was really an easy project to manage. One of the biggest benefits are in the fact that we are really identifying duplications and gaps in the processes. Suddenly, everything becomes much clearer. It has its own momentum and it drives itself.
There's quick buy-in to change. VizPro is a highly consultative way and it's a very inclusive way of effecting that change, workshopping that change. People get an opportunity to participate and bring the solutions and agree to the solutions and differ with each other. So the buy-in is almost instantly. It's not about consultants saying this is what you must go and do. It's not about top management telling people this is what we're going to do from now on. It is getting that participation so people bring the solutions and those solutions are being implemented. One of the greatest benefits of applying this methodology is that the learning curve is extremely low, both for the business people that come to the workshops and for facilitators, the typical business analysts that need to learn how to facilitate it. It's easy to follow. Other process methodologies have got notations and things that people don't understand. So we follow a highly visual storyboard approach. And the impact of that is very high because of the high buy-in rate. People know where the solutions should be, even if there's problems. We, with this methodology, are the facilitators to get people to come and say, this is how we want to improve our business. We facilitate getting the best practice from the very people that's been working in that organization. I think people recognize that to do process mapping is quite a bit of an investment in terms of money, but especially in terms of time, the business people's time. But we find that even afterwards, doesn't matter what the reason for the initial project was, the ongoing use of the business processes are huge.
Supporting units are now coming to ask for these maps because HR is supporting, let's say, the mail business, who will then say, give us an idea of the process so that we can overlay staff numbers, so that we can overlay policies and procedures.
We have the IT department looking at the organization's process maps, saying where must the MI come in? Where must we provide more information? Where is there so much manual processes that take place that we can automate?
In the process, there's also the flow of money and where is the touch points with money coming in and money going out. And suddenly our costing area is now looking for the whole map because they would love to use that. There's a couple that we never thought about, for instance, to use the maps in initiation as new people are joining the company. We also have found that the users of, let's say, the support units are now coming and saying, I want to look at, for instance, the procurement process. Is the procurement process also user-friendly?
So there's such a richness of sharing of information once you've got your processes mapped, that the benefits and the side spin-offs are often huge long after you've actually delivered your project.